Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to the NoDQ.com live recap of Monday Night Raw for November the 29th, 2021. We will be discussing Raw, and after this stream, Jeff Meacham will be live on NoDQ and his YouTube channel as well for Talk Wrestling. If you want to stay up late for that, check it out afterwards. Anyways, Jeff Meacham sent in the $2 to let me know to plug that, so there you go. We kicked off Raw with the visionary, the revolutionary, Seth freaking Rollins. He said he had some breaking news. It will be him versus Big E, the WWE champion, at Day 1, which is the new pay-per-view. It will take place New Year's Day 2022. But then we had Finn Balor come down to the ring. He attacked Seth Rollins, which, if you remember last week, Rollins attacked Balor. Balor used the steps on Seth Rollins, and then the referee checked on Rollins, asked Rollins if Rollins wanted to do a match against Balor. Rollins did agree, and we had our match to kick off Raw. Balor did his big dive to Rollins. He missed the coup de grace, but avoided the curb stop, and then rolled up Rollins, but Rollins was able to kick out. And then Rollins, with a dirty tactic, he went for the eye of Finn Balor, and then picked up the victory 1, 2, 3 with the curb stomp. Pretty solid opening to the show. Seth Rollins picks up a victory. We're starting the build now towards the Day 1 pay-per-view. No real issues with this. Balor takes an L, but kind of figured that that was going to be the case here. Backstage, we had Vince McMahon meeting up with Austin Theory. Vince and Austin all over again. Vince said that they were going to watch the entire show together, and then he added, if Austin ever steals from him again, Vince will kill him. And that's actually what Vince said. He will kill Austin Theory if Theory ever tries to steal something from him again. Hamp Connell with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. I appreciate it. Says, I know you don't know about this all, but what was WWE thinking having a pay-per-view on the same day as the Rose Bowl and the Sugar Bowl? I guess they wanted to try something different, and I have no issue with it. I'll tune in. Now we'll have to see if other people follow suit or if the other events will affect WWE's viewership. I think it's just an experiment to see how it does and see if they can get some buzz from it, I guess. We had Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan in a contract signing. And this wasn't even for a pay-per-view match. This was a contract signing for a match on next week's Raw. Becky Lynch did some trash talking, said that Liv should thank her for having her first ever contract signing. Liv, that is, of course. And Becky thinks that Liv has to be salty about getting a match on Raw instead of, you know, a pay-per-view or whatever. Becky had to diss the Long Island Islanders hockey team. Liv responded by telling Becky to shut up. Showed footage from after Survivor Series of Becky crying. And then Liv brought up how Becky's big fat contract is the reason why her friends are gone. Of course, making reference to Ruby Riott and Sarah Logan being released from WWE. And said that Becky has become everything that she has despised. And Becky then proposed a 5-on-5 women's match, and she already had graphics made up for it, and Liv, of course, accepted. Liv was being polite, I think, because Kevin Dunn or whoever put together the graphics for the main event well, not the main event, but the match to kick off the third hour. And Liv is like, well, the effort was already made to put the graphic together. Might as well agree to the match. Actually, I think she just wanted to get in the ring with Becky. But yeah, segment was okay, but the contract signing, I mean, whatever. Kind of silly if you ask me, but that's what they do. They love those contract signing segments. We had Randy Orton backstage with Matt Riddle, who was wearing a brand new Hey Randy t-shirt. Orton said that they need to be more ruthless. They need to be 10 steps ahead. Why 10? Why not 11? Or maybe even fewer steps. Why not 9? Why is it 10 exactly? Just wondering. And Randy Orton was given a wig to put on his head. It was a wig to make him look like Matt Riddle. And Randy said you have 2 seconds to take it off his head. And Riddle quickly pulled off the wig. We then had a tag team title match. Orton and Riddle up against the Dirty Dogs. Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler. I like to call them Rudolph, and it is the season, so we're going to call them Rudolph. Anyways, match was fine. Crowd was firmly behind RK Bro, as you would expect. And they fought on the outside of the ring. Orton got super kicked, and then Roode did Orton's move to Riddle, picking him up and slamming him onto the table. They worked over Orton for a while. Riddle got a hot tag. Riddle did the draping DDT. They both tried to do stereo RKOs, but that did not work out. Ziggler hit a zigzag, got a near fall on Orton, and then Orton came back from that, picked up the win, hitting the RKO on Ziggler, 1, 2, 3. This was fine. Nice title defense from the champs, but how many more times are we going to see these two teams go at it? Would not shock me if they end up having several more matches over the next 6 months. Next up, we had Kevin Owens meeting up with Seth Rollins backstage, and Owens said he had some big news as well. He said that if he beats Big E, he will be added to the WWE title match at WWE Day 1. And Rollins just laughed this off. He thought Owens was joking, but Owens said he was serious. Go ask Adam Pearce. So Rollins went back to where Adam Pearce was. Pearce denied this, said it was not true, said he hasn't even seen Kevin Owens. So Rollins left very satisfied. And then Sonya Deville approached Adam Pearce and said, well, you know what? This stipulation actually seems like a good idea. We then had Edge come to the ring for a promo, his big debut or re-debut on Raw after being drafted. First time we've seen him since he won the Hell in a Cell match at Crown Jewel against Rollins. He said it's the best job in the world. He said, believe it or not, he thinks Rollins does deserve the title match at Day 1. Edge talked about having a new set of opponents. He mentioned AJ Styles, Kevin Owens, Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Big E. But then he was interrupted by the return of The Miz. And Miz was not alone. And no, it was not John Morrison, but it was actually his wife, Maurice, making her return to WWE television. I guess this was the way to make people forget about John Morrison. And also, I wonder if this plants the seeds for a tag team match. Miz and Maurice against Edge and Beth Phoenix. Maybe we'll see that at some point. Maybe we'll see that at Day 1 or the Royal Rumble. Anyways, there was a recap shown of Dancing with the Stars, and Miz was very upset because WWE gave Edge the big return treatment, and he got nothing. Edge made fun of Miz for coming in 9th on Dancing with the Stars, and Miz said that that was just because people, they forgot to vote for him. They're idiots. And Edge said that he knows what Miz is doing. Miz is there to get in the main event picture. And Miz talked about how Edge opened WrestleMania 27 when he main evented against John Cena. and he surpassed Edge a long time ago. And then Edge had quite the comeback here. He said that, yes, it's true, he cannot go much longer. He'll give Miz the pat on the back. And he said that there are people out there that mention his name. They mention the Miz's name on other shows for a cheap reaction. And of course, this was a reference to AEW. The segment last week, MJF, CM Punk, their promo battle. CM Punk making fun of MJF, saying he's just like the Miz. So this was a reference to that. Crowd reacted a little bit, but not a big reaction that you might expect. Either they don't watch AEW or maybe they just don't care. But anyways, Walter Cruz with a $5 super chat says, if you're going to mirror Punk versus MJF and you know that's what they're doing, use Edge and a young up-and-comer, not Miz. I like Miz, but he's a vet too. Well, I think the idea was because Miz's name was dropped on Dynamite, they wanted to be cute and make a reference to it. Bootleg Joe says, bless you, Aaron, for watching this garbage so I don't have to. Not a problem, Bootleg Joe. And Gary Joe, shout out to Gary, says it was a pretty cool jab at AEW, but there's no way it tops MJF and Punk. Well, I'm with you on that, but this was a really good segment here, I thought at least. And Edge had another dig. He said that Miz left his partner high and dry just to get fired. And Miz is a guy that, according to Edge, demands respect. Edge said that he earns it. And he said that he wanted to fight right there. Miz, of course, said no and walked away. But yeah, I'm thinking we might get a singles match. We might get a mixed tag team match. I thought it was a pretty strong segment. And yeah, of course, the whole leaving your partner high and dry for them to get fired, a reference to John Morrison. Interesting that they had two references. Earlier, Liv Morgan brought up her friends being gone, and then a reference to John Morrison being fired. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Edge versus Lashley, Spear versus Spear at WrestleMania. That's a possibility too, and I do not think that Edge name dropped Lashley, so that could possibly plant the seed for a future match between them. Lashley can say, you never name dropped me, and I felt disrespected by that. We had AJ Styles backstage, and he was wearing sunglasses. He was claiming that he could not see because the Street Profits used the fire extinguisher on him last week during Raw. We had the Street Profits versus the Alpha Academy. AJ Styles was struggling to walk down to ringside for commentary. Corey Graves was explaining everything that was happening in the ring to AJ Styles. Ford did a big dive onto both Alpha Academy members, and then he was going to try to finish off Chad Gable. But then AJ Styles, as Corey Graves put it, it was a miracle. AJ Styles could see. He tried to knock Ford off the apron, but his plan backfired. Ford was able to stop AJ Styles, and then he was able to stop Gable's attempt to take advantage. And then Ford hit the big frog splash and picked up the 1-2-3 victory. Pretty standard stuff here, you know. Corey Graves using the Bobby Heenan line. I thought was amusing. Backstage, Vince McMahon asked Austin Theory about AJ's surprise, and Theory liked it, and Vince said it was freaking horrible, and Austin needs to be more attentive. Then we had Seth Rollins backstage laughing in the face of Kevin Owens, calling him a liar. Liar, liar, pants on fire, he said, and Owens responded by saying that he is not a liar. Next up, we had Damian Priest versus Apollo Crews for the United States Championship. And in this match, you had General Aziz interfering on multiple occasions. And eventually, Aziz grabbed the foot of Priest, and the referee had enough. The referee kicked Aziz out of the building, and Priest, because of all the interference, he snapped. He got in the ring, hit the Reckoning, and retained the title against Apollo. Match was fine. No real complaints about it. Pretty much what it needed to be. Priest is the guy they're pushing. They're doing the gimmick where he snaps. It was good. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat, going back to a moment ago, says, what does Montez Ford need to be a main event star? Good question. More time, I would say, first and foremost. Let him continue to get better at what he's doing and wait till the timing is right. No need to rush it. Just let him organically develop his character. But he definitely has that potential if he keeps going the way he's going. And Darren says, is there any way to save Apollo Crews? Probably not. The heel turn, in my opinion, was very disappointing. Like, once they gave him the goofy gimmick with the accent, it was DOA. So, yeah, not really sure there's much, unfortunately, for Apollo. Backstage, Seth Rollins returned back to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, said that Owens was spreading rumors about possibly being added to the match and they should do something about it. And Pearce was like, well, they actually decided, because it's a good idea, they're going to make it official. If Kevin Owens could beat Big E in the main event, Owens would be added to the WWE Day 1 pay-per-view. I keep wanting to say Day 1-ish, like the Usos. And, of course, as you would expect, Rollins completely lost his mind, very pissed off that Adam Pearce lied to him. But Pearce said he did not technically lie. We then had the Rey Mysterio son-father combination, the Mysterios, up against the Hurt Business, Cedric the Entertainer, and Shelton Benjamin. Not much to say about it. Very standard TV match. Mysterios hit a double 619. Dominic hit the frog splash, pinned Cedric. Not much else to say about it. It was just a standard match. Mysterios, for the time being, still working well together. Biblical Adrian says, why not call it New Year's resolution? Well, I think it would have to be Revolution, because Resolution was Final Resolution from Impact Wrestling. But yeah, why don't they bring back New Year's Revolution? Good question. I like that name a lot better than Day 1, but I guess they're really trying to go with this start off the new year with a big event type deal and see what happens. And also, you got to keep in mind, too, that Atlanta's a big destination for New Year's parties. So I guess they feel like they do an event that weekend, they'll get in a lot of tourists, and it'll be a fun party-like atmosphere. You know, they're trying something different. Joey Perez says WWE is too bland with pay-per-view names. Yeah, I mean, they definitely haven't been that creative, I will say that much. Gary Joe doesn't think they'll go back to that because of AEW Revolution. Well, technically, New Year's Revolution was WWE's name. They had the name Revolution in a pay-per-view before AEW did. So it would be silly if people said, oh, they're copying AEW. If anything, WWE used the Revolution name first. We had a video package for Bobby Lashley, which was pretty cool, showing his history, you know, the military and his amateur wrestling and his first run in the company. You know, cool stuff to try and build him back up after that loss to Whisker Biscuit, Bill Goldberg. Then backstage, Vince McMahon asked Austin Theory about the evening, and Austin gave an answer that Vince did not like, as Vince slapped him. Vince slapped Austin. So yeah, Austin and McMahon, the feud continues. We had a commercial for WrestleMania tickets. You know, they're selling pretty good, 45,000, 50,000, somewhere in that neighborhood for each night. But of course, they want to get to 80, 90,000, and then they can say they have 100,000 there. They still got a ways to go, but you know what? No matches announced yet, and there's plenty of time to sell those extra tickets. We then had Team Liv versus Team Becky, 5-on-5 women's match, but not Survivor Series style. First fall ends the match. And this was a really good match. This was probably the best match of the night. They got a lot of time here. And Liv went right after Becky Lynch to start things off. And things quickly broke down. Tamina escaped a KOD attempt. And after the commercial break, Rhea Ripley got a hot tag, started smashing Carmella's face into the mat, hit her with some knees to the face, and then things broke down again. People coming in, everybody taking turns hitting big moves. Carmella then hit a super kick, but Rhea Ripley kicked out of that. We had another commercial break, and when we came back from that, Dana Brooke was up on the top. She got knocked off the top, fell onto her teammates, but Liv's team was able to make a comeback, and Liv ended up pinning Tamina with the Oblivion. After the match, Becky Lynch immediately attacked Liv. Fight continued. Everybody was fighting. Bianca was fighting her rival, Dewdrop. And then Liv Morgan countered a manhandle slam and hit the Oblivion to Becky Lynch to set up their match. So this was really good. Honestly, they didn't even need the contract signing segment. They could have just done this match for the build-up. This was pretty solid as far as building up the match for next week goes. Hamp Kano with a $5 super chat says, that's another problem. In Atlanta, the same time that my Georgia Bulldogs are in the playoff, that's what people will care about. Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I guess it's hard for me to say because I'm not the sports guy. We'll see how they do. I mean, clearly, if it bombs with viewership, they're not going to do it again. Well, maybe they will. They'll just double down on it. But one would think that if it doesn't do very good viewership, this will be a one-time thing. We had our main event of the evening, Kevin Owens versus Big E. And as Oofman says in the chat, make sure you guys give this video a like. If you enjoy the video, please consider subscribing. Click on the subscribe button. Turn on notifications for updates. And just give this video a like. And leave a comment. Let me know your favorite part of Raw and your least favorite part of Raw in the comments on YouTube. Walter Cruz with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. Says, it's the Peacock era. Don't need all the pay-per-views. Going back to Big 4 a year. Maybe just 6. Don't need one every month anymore. It's a new era. The thing is, they can do pay-per-views once a month, and it's not going to affect their business one way or another. The thing about the one pay-per-view a month, it does keep the storylines moving at a pretty steady pace. The problem, at least with WWE, I think AEW does a better job of building up their pay-per-views, but AEW also does special events in between the pay-per-views. When you do one pay-per-view a month, WWE keeps the storylines moving. When they've done longer gaps, they end up dragging out storylines longer than they need to, and the shows kind of feel more like filler. So I do like the pacing more when there's one pay-per-view a month. And it's a format that works. And there's really no need for WWE to do 6 pay-per-views because they're not charging $50 a month for a pay-per-view. So there's really no need to do that. Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says, I thought it was a letter grade down for the contract signing. And yeah, I typically do that, but it didn't bother me that much. I just think it was not really necessary. They could have just done the 5-on-5 match and announced that Liv would get her match on next week's show. Hamp Kano with a $2 super chat says, stop looking over there, damn it, in the Vince McMahon voice. Yeah, Vince had a problem with Austin Theory looking over to the side while they were talking. Bootleg Joe sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Bootleg Joe. I appreciate it. Says, here's something for your troubles, Aaron. You're a true sport for watching WWE programming. Well, thank you. I really do appreciate that. You know, just doing the job here, doing the best I can to give you guys my personal opinion. At the end of the day, like what you're going to like. If you like WWE, if you like AEW, if there's other wrestling you like, watch what you like. And I'm just here to give my thoughts on the show, but by all means, like what you want to like. All right, so Kevin Owens, Big E in the main event. And right before the match got going, I mean, pretty standard format here. Seth Rollins' music hits. He comes down to the ring to be on commentary. And basically, he was cheering on for Big E. And he wanted Big E to win this match, so Owens would not be in it. Owens smacked the headset off of Rollins, trying to instigate him so Rollins would attack him, and because of a DQ, Owens would be added to the match. But Rollins said he's too smart for Owens' crap. Owens pretty much dominated the match. He DDT'd Big E on the steps, hit a big superplex, but Big E kicked out of that. Owens was slapping around Big E. Big E got back in it. They traded blows back and forth. Owens hit a super kick, but Big E kicked out of that. And then Owens hit a pop-up powerbomb. Big E kicked out again. And Rollins was starting to freak out. He was getting nervous. And then Owens, I guess in desperation, got to the outside of the ring and he attacked Seth Rollins. Big E got him back in the ring, and then Owens regained control. But then Seth Rollins got into the ring and attacked Owens. Rollins attacked Owens because Owens attacked him. Basically, Rollins was wrong. He was not smart enough to fall for Owens' crap. And thus, we had the DQ. And here's the thing. I prefer stupid heel over stupid babyface, but why didn't Rollins just attack Big E? That way Owens would be DQ'd, problem solved. Like, I would have liked that ending better. Intrigued as to what would happen next. Instead, they set up the obvious ending here. But yeah, it didn't really make sense. Like, if I'm Rollins, I'm gonna attack Big E and screw over Owens. But yeah, it is what it is. And because of the DQ, Owens will now be part of the match. Triple threat at WWE Day 1. And Rollins went for a stomp to Owens, but he missed. And then Rollins did hit the stomp on Big E. And that was the ending of your show with Kevin Owens celebrating on the outside of the ring. Overall, show was not bad. The usual problems that I've said every week for years. Too long, 3-hour show. Writing is not great. Matches were fine. I mean, it was a pretty solid show by current Raw standards. I'm going with a B-. B- for this week's Raw. Pretty decent. Probably best off just watching the YouTube clips. I mean, I definitely don't think there was any segment you really had to watch. I think my favorite segment was the Edge and Miz promo. That one you could probably watch in its entirety. It was entertaining. Main event was what it was. It was good, but yeah, I just wonder why Rollins did not attack Big E and cause Owens to get DQ'd. I think that would have been a better ending. Walter Cruz with a $2 super chat says, KO was added just to take the fall. You're probably right. I mean, everyone's going to think now, oh, this is it for Owens. He's going to lose the triple threat. He'll be going to AEW after that. Maybe WWE swerves us. Maybe Kevin Owens somehow pulls off the victory. I don't think so, but we'll see what happens. Looking at the poll results, 30% of you gave it a thumbs up, 21% thumbs down, 25% thumbs middle, 24% did not watch. So kind of a mixed bag, but thumbs up did get the overall majority of votes. Oofman Entertainment sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that, Oofman. I appreciate that. He says, if you've seen it, what did you think of the Beatles Get Back documentary? I thought it was great. 2 thumbs up, 5 stars. I have not seen it. I plan on seeing it soon. Definitely in my queue of things to watch. I got to finish the World Series of Poker, and I got to watch the Jeff Hardy Broken Skull sessions, but it's definitely on my list of things to watch. Seeing a lot of C pluses in the chat. B- from Matt Helms, some Bs, CC Drink, Lucha Libre Gaming Guy, and LaShawn Davis all give it a B, and some B-, Matt Helms, Mohammed, and the game is on 100. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I really do appreciate it. And again, give the video a like and stay tuned. Good old JM Jeff Meacham is going live after me with Talk Wrestling. Check that out. And we will be back after NXT to do our predictions for the final WWE pay-per-view of the year, War Games. Yes, there is a War Games pay-per-view this Sunday. A lot of people are forgetting about it, but it is coming. And Jeff Meacham Network sent in $2. Thank you, Jeff. Says, thanks again for the recap, boss. Talk Wrestling live next. And that's it for me. Have a great night, guys. Enjoy your week. And I will see you all next time.